Now, the foreign ministers and defense ministers of India and the United States held the fifth substantive 2+2 ministerial meeting in New Delhi. The talks were held between India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, and the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. S. Jaishankar said that the talks covered advancing the strategic partnership, and this includes expanding defense ties and joint cooperation in space, tech and logistics. The leaders also discussed the challenges in the Indo-Pacific and South Asia while sharing their views on West Asia and the Ukrainian conflict.
This meeting, this visit of yours, I think has a particular significance because we need to follow up on the Prime Minister's June visit and the President's coming here in September. So there's a lot of bilateral stuff we need to do. And two, of course, this is a 2+2, so we take a broader view of what we're doing. And then, of course, as Quad members, there's the Indo-Pacific that we're focusing on. And finally, we look at global regional issues, and I think what's happening in West Asia, Middle East, to you folks. That, I think, is a very big concern right now. I look forward to discussing those and other matters with you.
Now, defense officials from both sides, in fact, took up the emerging security challenges in the Indo-Pacific.
We increasingly find ourselves in agreement on strategic issues, including countering China's aggression, promoting a free and open Indo-Pacific, and addressing regional security challenges. We share a focus on maritime security in the Indo-Pacific region, recognizing the criticality of safeguarding vital sea lanes and promoting stability.
Indo-Pacific, including by strengthening our partnership through the Quad with Japan and Australia. One significant way we're doing that is by enhancing maritime domain awareness, sharing commercial satellite data with countries in the region to boost their capacity, for example, to combat illegal fishing, piracy, drug trafficking. We're also coordinating humanitarian relief and disaster response efforts in the Indo-Pacific.
The 2+2 dialogue was launched in 2018 to boost defense cooperation and to align foreign policy objectives in the Indo-Pacific region. The dialogue provides a platform for top-level discussions between the United States and India on critical bilateral and global matters. There was special emphasis this time on developments unfolding in the Indo-Pacific region as well as the Israel-Hamas war. Atul Keshap, the president of the U.S.-India Business Council, spoke to WION's Bhairavi Singh on the 2+2 ministerial dialogue and also the deepening India-US ties. Listen in.
Let me begin by asking you about the 2+2 dialogue. There is such a wide gamut of cooperation that these two sides are looking at now. This relationship has grown leaps and bounds strategically. In defense, in critical energy, in critical minerals, in emerging technology. Talk us through some of the likely deliverables and outcomes from the 2+2.
Well, Bhairavi, thank you very much for having me on. First of all, you've outlined some of the very important deliverables. I was quite interested to see that the U.S. and India have agreed in this 2+2 to upgrade India's participation fully at our joint maritime task force in Bahrain that looks at the Arabian Sea, Persian Gulf, and Indian Ocean. That's a very important piece of news. I was also quite interested to see in the statement that the two governments have indicated that they will finalize the SOSA agreement, which can have a big impact on defense supply chains. You mentioned the Stryker vehicles as well. That's a significant development. But really, I think for me, what's most important is that the United States only has these 2+2 discussions of defense and foreign ministers with our most trusted partners. And the fact that we are now in the 5th year of doing this is indicative of how far we have come between Delhi and Washington and how much trust each side has in each other as we deal with an increasingly complex and unstable world.
Now, India is also, as you mentioned, invited to the APEC summit. It's not a member. How do you see this panning out? Will we see India becoming a member as well?
So I love the question because I was the United States envoy for Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation in a certain era. And, it was very controversial back then whether or not India would join APEC. And I don't know where that's going. But I would note that of all the countries speaking at the APEC Economic Leaders meeting in San Francisco, the only non-member speaking and invited is India. And that's very, very notable. Of course, we also have the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework that the United States and India are both part of. And so I think there's been a realization in Washington since I was APEC envoy that we have to have India woven into the economic and strategic arrangements of the Indo-Pacific. It can't be the Indo-Pacific without India. And so just in the last year or so, we finally find ourselves in the same strategic and economic baskets, America and India. Strategically in the Quad, economically in the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. I love the fact that Minister Goyal is going to be in San Francisco. We're hosting him. US-IBC is hosting him at an event with Secretary Gina Raimondo. And we are going to have our member companies and the two ministers show the world how much the economic, strategic, and technological convergence between the United States and India is good, not just for both of our countries, but frankly for all free people everywhere. And I'm delighted Minister Goyal is coming to APEC in San Francisco.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.